YouTube! Welcome to my channel, Taylor Talks Tales. I'm Taylor, and today I'm going to be doing a library book haul for you. Typically when I go to the library, I tend to stock up on quite a few books, so I've got quite a few here. Not all of them though, I'm going to be doing my second part in a different video. My local library allows me to keep my books usually for a month to 2 months at a time. In fact, you can actually technically check out a book up to twice. So that would be like a 3-month time span. Some of the popular books you only have about, like 28 days to read or something like that. And since it's free, I usually stock up, get like 20-30 books at a time. That usually satisfies me for a month or two. I don't always read every single book that I check out at the library, mainly because I'm sort of a mood-based reader, where if I'm just not feeling it, I'm not feeling it, and just set it down. I may get interested in it another time, and then recheck it out, that kind of thing. Without further ado, I think we should go ahead and get started on this video. So my first book that I've been wanting to read for quite some time is The Devil Crept In by Anya Alborn. I've been wanting to read more women horror/thriller authors. I've heard really good things about her. There's another book, I think it's called Within These Walls, that has to deal with some kind of cult, and I love cult shit, like OMG. So this one does not have, I don't know if it has anything to do with the cult, but I'll read the blurb on the back for you. Young Jude Brighton has gone missing, and while the search for him is in full swing here in the small town of Deer Valley, Oregon, the locals are starting to lose hope. They're well aware that the first 48 hours are critical, and after that, the odds usually point to a worst-case scenario. And despite Stevie Clark's youth, he knows that too. He's seen the cop shows. He knows that each ticking moment may mean what each ticking moment may mean for Jude, his cousin and best friend. It's just like the stories from years ago of that boy, Max Larson, who was found dead after disappearing under mysterious circumstances. And then there were the animals, pets gone missing out of yards for years. The residents of Deer Valley have either murmured about or tried very hard not to talk about these unsolved crimes, or that a killer may still possibly be lurking around their quiet town. Now fears were born, and for Stevie, who's determined to find out what really happened to Jude, the awful truth may be too horrifying to imagine. We've got this possible serial killer in the woods, missing child, small town. I love small town drama, folk drama, all that, just all of that. So I'm very excited for this and can't wait to check it out. Alright, so the next one is actually another sort of folk-ish horror, and that's called Wilding Hall. You've got that. And I'm interested in this too. I didn't actually realize how short it was, but it's only like, I don't know, not even 150 pages, so anyway, just after the tragic and mysterious death of one of their founding members, the young musicians in a British acid folk band hole up at Wilding Hall, an ancient country house with its own dark secrets. There they record the classic album that will make their reputation, but at a terrifying cost, when Julian Blake, their lead singer, disappears within the mansion and is never seen again. Now, years later, each of the surviving musicians, their friends and lovers, including a psychic, a photographer, and the band's manager, meets with a young documentary filmmaker to tell his or her own version of what happened during that summer. But whose story is the true one, and what really happened to Julian Blake? Ooh, I'm excited. Short, sounds really fun. I like sort of faux documentary or just like a bunch of people's stories coming together, and you don't exactly know which one it is and stuff, so mysterious disappearances sounds right up my alley. Definitely can't wait to check that one out. And then these two I got because I figured if I liked the first one, I wanted to jump right into the second one. And I love ghosts and all that stuff, and I typically read young adult or adult literature. I haven't really gone into middle grade much as I've gotten older. Doesn't mean I'm not interested, it just, there's so much out there that I kind of just stick with YA and adult because I'll just never be able to keep up. But I've heard great things about Victoria Schwab, and I decided to pick up City of Ghosts and Tunnel of Blood. So I'll just read the blurb on the first one because obviously if I read the blurb on the second one, we'll spoil it. Ever since Cassim was drowned, okay, she did drown, but she doesn't like to think about it, she can pull back the veil that separates the living from the dead and enter the world of spirits. Her best friend is even a ghost. So things are already pretty strange, but they're about to get much stranger. When Cass's parents land a gig hosting a TV show about the world's most haunted places, the family heads off to Edinburgh, Scotland. Here, graveyards, castles, and secret passageways teem with restless phantoms. And when Cass meets another girl who shares her gift, she realizes how much she still has to learn about the Vale and herself. And she'll have to learn fast. The city of ghosts is more dangerous than she ever imagined. Excited, anything ghosty, and there's also travel and all that stuff. I'm just very excited, so I'm hoping I like the first one, and if I like the first one, I'm just going to go right into the second one, and of course, I'll make sure to post reviews on that. Okay, so got a couple more. First is actually one that I've been wanting to read for like years and years. I read a Dean Koontz book, like 2, when I was younger, and like didn't like either of them, and then I read Intensity and did like it. But that's kind of it. But like I'd been, talking to somebody about this book, because this is supposed to be Dean Koontz's like one of his most well-known, most renowned books, and that's Watchers. Pretty much all it says on the back is a very short blurb. On his 36th birthday, Travis Cornell hikes into the foothills of the Santa Ana Mountains. Soon his path is blocked by a bedraggled golden retriever, who will let him go no further into the dark woods. That morning, Travis had been desperate to find some happiness in his lonely, seemingly cursed life. What he finds is a friend, a dog of alarming intelligence, and a threat that comes from the darkest corners of man's imagination. Pretty much have no idea what it's about, except it has got a dog, and it's supposed to be sort of some sci-fi thriller elements. I don't think it's one of his more traditionally horror-type books, but I want to check it out, because I feel like I should at least try to give him another chance. I know I'm a huge, huge Stephen King fangirl. Love that man to death, and have always sort of been a bit of a Dean Koontz hater, but I feel like I did read 2 of his supposed to be like worst books when I was younger, and it just kind of formed my opinion, and I want to branch out, so we're gonna do that. Okay, so another book that I've got is a book called Beasts of Extraordinary Circumstance. A little bit different than sort of the theme that I had going on over there with the horror. I heard this is more supposed to be like magical realism. I've had several people say this is like their favorite book of all time, and so I figured I definitely want to give it a shot, because even though horror and like thrillers and even like fantasy are pretty much the genres that I gravitate towards, I like to branch out. In fact, I feel like I'm more well-rounded with my book choices than I am with my movies. Movies, it's pretty much I just watch horror, thriller, and like movies from my childhood kind of thing. So this one I'm very excited about. It actually sounds really cool. Magical realism, just magic in anything. I just love magic in books. So I'll read the little blurb. Finding magic in the ordinary. Orphaned, raised by wolves, and the proud owner of a horned pig named Merlin, Waylon Gray knew he wasn't like other people. But when he single-handedly stopped that tornado on a stormy Christmas day in Oklahoma, he realized just how different he actually was. That tornado was the first of many strange events that seemed to follow Waylon from town to town, although he doesn't like to take credit. As amazing as these powers may appear, they tend to manifest themselves at inopportune times and places. From freak storms to trees that appear to grow overnight, Waylon's unique abilities are a curiosity at best, and at worst a danger to himself and the woman he loves. But Mary doesn't care. Since Waylon saved her from an angry wolf on her 11th birthday, she's known that a relationship with him isn't without its risks. But as anyone who's met Waylon will tell you, once he wanders into your life, you'll wish you never leave. So, and it continues on a little bit, but basically, I'm excited. I'm a little hesitant with it having romance in it because I'll explain in another video. I'm trying to avoid romances right now. Nothing against the genre. It's mainly some personal things that are going on in my life right now. But I feel like if there's enough magical elements and it doesn't focus too much on it and focuses more on the characters, then I'll be excited. So definitely looking forward to this. Alright, another one is, this was popping up as a recommendation like everywhere, like on Amazon, on Goodreads, on everything. And it's The Naturalist by Andrew Mayne. So this is supposed to be a mystery thriller. and there's, I think, 4 books out, so I'm kind of interested to see where this goes, what it does differently, that kind of thing. Let's see. Professor Theo Cray is trained to see patterns where others see chaos. So when mutilated bodies found deep in the Montana woods leave the cops searching blindly for clues, Theo sees something they missed. Something unnatural. Something only he can stop. As a computational biologist, Theo is more familiar with digital code and microbes than the dark arts of forensic sleuthing. But a field trip to Montana suddenly lands him in the middle of an investigation into the bloody killing of one of his former students. As more details and bodies come to light, the local cops determine that the killer is either a grizzly gone rogue or Theo himself. Racing to stay one step ahead of the police, Theo must use his scientific acumen to uncover the killer. Will he be able to become as cunning as the predator he hunts before he becomes its prey? Sounds really cool. I actually happen to be a huge fan of the TV series Hannibal, and I don't know why, but when I was thinking of reading this book, it just reminded me of Hannibal, and I just cannot get enough of that TV show, so I was just like, yes. And computational biologist, I always like thrillers and mysteries with like a protagonist that's a little bit different. Like, I don't want just the like, oh yeah, I'm the traumatized cop, or I'm the lady cop who's like a bad mom and just gonna do the, you know. There's definitely like a lot of tropes in horror and thrillers and stuff, and you know, whenever you can shake it up a little bit, I think it's really cool. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I've only got a couple more that I'm going to do for this video just because I don't want it to be too long, because it definitely could be. One, it's actually very short, pretty much a novella, and this is To Be Taught If Fortunate by Becky Chambers, and I really like The Long Way to Small Angry Planet, or the Wayfarer series. There's 3 books, and then this one just came out. This is the 4th novella companion kind of thing. I definitely like the first one the best, and I keep hoping that Becky Chambers will continue on with the stories with the characters on the Wayfarer from the first book. But I still really like her world building. I love the aliens and the just everything about it is really great, and it's very like there's so much diversity in it, diversity in sexuality and gender and race and just everything like that. So I definitely recommend that series, and it's just very cozy. It's like the most cozy sci-fi books I've like ever read. Like, normally I'm not super into like space opera type things because I tend to prefer more like magical and supernatural elements as opposed to like really hard science. That series is not like that at all. I think it's great, and I'm super excited to read this. And I don't think there's any spoilers on the blurb, but I'm not going to, just in case. I know it says it's a standalone novella, but, you know, just check it out. And I recommend reading the other books first before you check that one out. It's just my guess. Let's see. This one I've been wanting to read for a while. I actually checked it out at the library and like had started reading it and then just got distracted. I'm kind of like that. I'm a little ADD with, well, I guess with everything. I go from one thing to another, and I always tell people, oh, I'm going to read this, I'm going to read that. Then I don't. But it's The Croning by Laird Barron. It's not super long, so I feel like I could just plow through this really quick. But this is blurb inside. Strange things exist on the periphery of our existence, haunting us from the darkness looming beyond our firelight. Black magic, weird cults, and worse things loom in the shadows. The children of Old Leech have been with us from time immemorial, and they love us. Donald Miller, geologist and academic, has walked along the edge of a chasm for most of his nearly 80 years, leading a charmed life between endearing absent-mindedness and sanity-shattering realization. Now all things must converge. Donald will discover the secrets along the edges, unearthing savage truths about his wife Michelle, their adult twins, and all he knows and trusts. For Donald is about to stumble on the secret of the Croning. Ooh, yes. Very good. I know Laird Barron has written a lot in the horror genre. This would be my first Laird Barron, so definitely looking forward to that. And let's see. Where? Oh, okay. Last one for this video, so it doesn't go too crazy long. But I have been really looking forward to this book. I'm excited. This may be what I jump into soon, because I'm currently doing a Dresden Files read through as well. So I'm pretty much peppering the books I've checked out at the library with reading the Dresden Files, because it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time and I just kept putting it off for literally no reason. So I'm working on that. But once I finish the Dresden File book I'm on, I'm going to jump, I believe, into this one. So it is Our War by Craig DeLuey. So Craig DeLuey wrote just this amazing, super underrated horror book called Suffer the Children. And Suffer the Children, which I'm going to do a book review on because it's so good, I want everyone to read it, is basically about every single child in the world dies. Just all at once. And it's this awful thing. And then they come back. But it goes from there, and it's like, whoo, it was so good. I was just super just into it, loved it. And so this book is like kind of different. It's not, I don't think it really has too much to do with it, but I'm hoping that he brings that, his character building and like questioning morality and like what would you do for the person you love kind of thing. And I'm hoping that he brings it into Our War. I'll read the little blurb on the back. On the battlefields of America, even our children will have to fight. In his most powerful novel to date, acclaimed author Craig DeLuey presents a near future in which America is entrenched in civil war. After his impeachment, the President of the United States refuses to leave office, and the country erupts into a fractured and violent war. Orphaned by the fighting and looking for a home, 10-year-old Hannah Miller joins the citizen militia in the besieged Indianapolis. In the Free Women Militia, Hannah finds a makeshift family. They'll teach her how to survive, they'll give her hope, and they'll show her how to use a gun. Yes! I'm looking forward to this. I think it may hit home a little bit with certain things that are going on in the United States right now. And I'm really hoping that he brings what he brought to Suffer the Children into this book. So can't wait to read it. I'm very excited. And I think I'm going to cut it off here. Thank you so much for, checking out my library haul. I'll do the second one probably sometime later. Probably not today, maybe tomorrow, but I'll link it in the down box below. And comment, tell me what you're reading, if you've recently done a book haul, or if you're doing a library haul, if you have a TBR, if you're interested in any of these books and have more questions about it, just let me know. And you have a great day, and happy reading!